I love The Girl Who Leapt Through Time. It's among my favorite movies ever, anime or not. I'm KeybladeSpirit, and today on Tone Kent, I'd like to put a spotlight on two of my favorite aspects of the film that go underappreciated due to the film's already excellent surface-level components: recurring imagery and bookending. The most obvious recurring element to most viewers is probably the elves, signaling the passing of the hour in the movie, and for the viewer, the coming of the train, and with it, either disaster or relief, depending on if anything went wrong. Besides the obvious metaphor of the tolling bell, the image does the same job that a lazier director might use a jump scare for. With bookending, the beginning and climactic set pieces, in which Makoto and then Kosuke and Kaho end up out of control on the bicycle, both feature them losing a shoe in their efforts to stop. Makoto loses her left shoe, and Kosuke, based on this frame, loses his right shoe. For proof that it actually is his right shoe, I'd like to present a photo of my own right shoe, from roughly the same angle. In this scene, the other shoe drops, both literally and metaphorically, and this is where the film enters its final act. Another significant, though more obvious and less interesting example of bookending, is the choice to use the characters playing baseball for its beginning and ending scenes, as well as most of the expositional dialogue. The moment-to-moment goal of baseball is to make it from home base to the first, second, and third bases before going home again. The starting scene in which Makoto is dreaming about baseball begins the circle, and the end scene, where Makoto and Kosuke are joined by Kaho and the volunteer club girls, completes the circle with Chiaki having gone home to his future. Intermission. Subtle touches. I'd like to briefly mention some of my favorite little details that don't contribute to much analysis, but are cool, and I like them. The low-detail animation on Makoto between when she leaves the school to chase after Kosuke and when she gets to the hill looks as adorable as it is desperate, and transitions seamlessly to high-detail animation as she moves closer to the camera. They could have just cut on a low-detail frame and started the next cut in higher detail, but they actually went to the trouble of doing a proper transition. In the same scene after the "oh shit" moment of Kosuke passing Makoto on the bike, there's a very Yamada Naoko-esque cut, showing only Makoto's legs as she drops her phone and turns to break into a run. The emotion portrayed in that cut is exceptionally well done in a way that I can't quite explain with words. Chiaki's wristband, hiding his time leap counter, was a brilliant move for his character design. It's just unique enough to be a neat quirk of his outfit, but doesn't stand out enough to register as foreshadowing, even after multiple rewatches. It's neat how, depending on whether the viewer is aware of the source material, Auntie Witch's exposition on time leaping can be read either as a nod that the film is a sequel to the book, or her making a joke that just happens to be accurate. By setting all of the film in early 2000s Japan, the story gets around the need for any exposition of both the shown and told varieties, regarding what we actually see. However, the twist that Chiaki is from the future brings with it several questions that didn't need to be answered, but were anyway, into phenomenal effect. In the scene in which time stops, and Chiaki gives his exposition dump, we learn several things about his future. I'll get to the big one in a moment, but first the more obvious ones. In describing his impressions of our present, Chiaki reveals a lot about the future he comes from. He says that he'd never seen a running river before, nor ridden a bike, nor seen the vast expanse of the sky, nor seen an area with such a huge population. These statements leave a lot to be interpreted, but suggest that Chiaki's future is one of hardship, environmental decay, and massive population decline. Further, the painting that Chiaki wanted to see is introduced early on, with Auntie Witch making a point of the fact that it is as beautiful as it is, despite having been dated to a period of extreme famine. It's not brought up again, but it should be clear that Chiaki wanted so badly to see this painting because he wanted to share in the hope that inspired it, painting a rather grim picture of his future. If you'd like to inspire hope for a less grim picture of Tonken's future, consider subscribing to the channel, liking the video, and leaving a comment telling us what you thought of this shorter analytical video. Thanks for watching.